Hi everyone, I'm Katie Farner, Director for the Sunshine State Superstars. Last night I did a live interactive training here on the YouTube channel for our team members, and it was called Dash to Director. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of a technical error with my PowerPoint presentation and it never actually showed up. So I have discovered what I believe to be the source of the problem, and I believe I have it resolved. Unfortunately, I won't be able to enlarge the PowerPoint presentation to full screen. It's going to have to just be kind of in the PowerPoint editing window. So I'm sorry if it's not going to be large enough. I'm hoping that you'll still be able to read it and follow along. What I decided to do is break this Dash to Director training down into 3 segments. So this is part 1 of the 3-part series for Dash to Director. So I'm going to just double check to make sure that we are in fact running. Right, okay, perfect. So let me start the screen share and make sure that this is running properly. Okay, so like I said before, this is my Dash to Director training, and it's going to teach you the important steps for getting to Director. So, getting to Director is definitely something that is going to require time. It's going to require patience. It's going to require perseverance. It's going to require commitment. Getting to Director is not really going to happen by luck. It's going to happen just like earning an incentive trip. It's going to happen by planning and being strategic about what you're doing. So getting to Director is not just, focus on this one thing. Getting to Director, you're going to need to focus on a lot of different areas of your business. It's your sales, it's your recruiting, it's your working events, it's doing fundraisers, it's working with your team, it's motivating your team. So many different things go into reaching the title of Director. So we're going to dive right on into this training. And again, this is going to be part 1 of a 3-part series of how to dash to Director. So the first slide we're going to talk about is goals and accountability. Goal setting is very important. If you do not have goals, then you're wandering aimlessly and you don't know where you're headed. So think about, what is it that you want from your business? Why did you sign up to sell Scentsy? Let's talk a little more specifically about your goals and accountability. You've got to make sure that you have big and small goals, that your goals are, you have your large goal, and then all along the process, all along the journey of getting there, you're going to have little moments, little celebrations along the way. Because if you're not celebrating each milestone, it's going to steal a lot of your joy, and you can very easily get discouraged. So make sure that you're celebrating every single positive moment along the way. Create a dream or a vision board. This is something that I've talked about a lot. Some people might think it's silly, but I think a dream or a vision board is very important. And you can bring your family in, make it a whole family thing. Don't just have your business goals on there. Have your personal goals, your family goals. It'll be so much more fun when you bring people in to participate with you. Once you have your goals established, share them with everybody. Your team members, share them with your family, your friends, your customers, your hosts. That's part of what you're doing. So it's important that everybody knows why you're doing what you're doing. You're actually 90% more apt to reach your goals if you have them written down. So it really is powerful. Don't brush this off. One thing that you can do is get a dry erase board as well, and have a dry erase board on your refrigerator and write your goals there. A lot of people do that. I personally have a dry erase marker, and I write my goals on my mirror in my bathroom, and I update those about weekly or bi-weekly. You want to track and reassess your goals often. That's why I said I change mine every week or other week, because you're going to need to track and reassess your goals. Things change. There are some things in this business that are beyond our control. So it's important to reassess and make sure that you are on pace and you are on track and not giving yourself unrealistic goals. So be accountable. It's important to have accountability buddy, whether it's your sponsor, a team member, or a fellow team member, not somebody in your downline, but it's important to have your accountability partner be at least at the same place in their business that you are, working towards the same goals you are, have the same drive, or they have already done that. They have achieved some level of what you're looking to achieve. Let's talk about smart goal setting. When you're setting your goals, you want to make sure that they're smart, that they are specific, they are measurable, they are achievable, and they are realistic and timely. If your goals are too open-ended, not specific, that's going to make a huge difference. Your goals have to be measurable. If a goal without a deadline is just a dream, you've got to have measurable time for your goals. And they have to be achievable. It can't be something ridiculously unrealistic that you can't achieve. Like, say you just joined last week. You don't want your goal to be promoted to director by December. That would be an unrealistic goal that's going to set you up for discouragement. You want to make sure that your goals are challenging. Their goals are challenging, but they're also going to stretch you and help you grow. So state your goals and declarations out loud. You want to make sure that you are always reminding yourself of what your goals are and encouraging yourself that you can do it. If you declare it, what we put out there makes a huge difference. Our words are powerful. So put it out there in a positive way. Let's talk about having a goal worksheet or a goal statement. You want to have almost like a company mission statement. You want to have a goal statement, and this is something that you want to declare all the time. So I want you to ask yourself, when you're developing your goal worksheet and your goal statement, what do I need to reach this goal? Where am I now? What are my obstacles? What are those solutions to those obstacles? What are my positives? What do I have going for me? I want you to make sure that regarding your goals, your accountability, what you're working towards, you've got to be persistent, consistent, and patient. Those are the three most important things, honestly, on your journey to director. Because if you are not persistent, if you are not consistent, and if you are not patient, you will struggle. You will really struggle to get there. And it's all about your numbers. So you've got to make sure that you're always meeting new people. For me, every single month on my calendar, I have something set up to meet new people every month. I'm always looking for ways to grow my business, because I know, and you need to know, that the more contacts you make, the faster your business will grow. This business is about increasing your Rolodex size, always increasing your Rolodex size, always increasing your network. And again, for those of you who might be just joining us, I apologize that the screen looks like this. This is the only way that I can get the PowerPoint to actually play. Unfortunately, for some reason, the PowerPoint is not playing if I have it any other way than full screen. So unfortunately, I have to have it this way. I cannot hit play up here and actually have the PowerPoint presentation full screen. That's when it'll switch back to me and it won't show you the PowerPoint. So I apologize for the screen. It doesn't look so great. And I also apologize for the noise. The lawn care maintenance guys are here right now. Lovely, right? So now let's talk about some business basics. These are business basics that you must be doing. The very first thing that should be on here is do parties. If you are not doing parties, that is a huge mistake. Home parties especially, they are the heart of this business. After all, it is called a party plan business. This business is founded on parties and the relationships that you establish from parties. Parties, if they are run successfully, if they are run right, correctly, parties will just turn into more parties. Just a healthy flow of parties, 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 parties. So make sure that you're doing parties. You can't be teaching your team to do things that you're not willing to do, period. So another basic is business cards, samples, making sure everything is labeled with your contact information. Have a Facebook business page, or if you don't want a business page, like I choose not to have a Facebook business page, what I do instead is I run my personal Facebook page as a place that reflects my brand, Katie Varner, Scentsy Consultant. So if you don't want a business page, that's okay. You don't have to have one. I don't have one. But I do make sure that my personal page is where I add my customers and I run it professionally. Know Scentsy verbiage. Know our policies and procedures. Know the compensation plan. There are lots of videos out there, whether I've done them or another YouTube person has done them, or they're in the training center. There are videos everywhere that can teach you the compensation plan, that can teach you policies and procedures, or read them and know your catalog. It's important that you know the combine and save packages and things like that. You want to make sure that everything is branded. Your email address is branded. You've got a signature on there. You brand your car. You brand yourself. Wear Scentsy clothes. I don't typically wear my clothes to home parties. I typically just brand myself on normal day-to-day. I don't like to brand myself at parties because I feel like that doesn't help with me kind of being one with the guests and making friends and things. So I don't brand myself for home parties, but I do brand myself most days of the week. I think branding is so important. Always make sure that you're prepared, a prepared professional. You have nice professional looking business supplies on you all the time. Catalogs, samples, showcase brochure, product list, whatever you can afford to be given out. Make sure that you have a professional office space. It's a Scentsy office or shrine. I'm so proud of my Scentsy office. I love the way it looks, and I'm always proud to be welcoming my customers in there. Focus on time management. This is absolutely a business basic, and we're going to elaborate more on this later. But time management is absolutely a business basic. You have to be making time for your business. Just like any relationship. If you don't make time for your marriage is going to suffer. If you don't make time for your children, your relationship with your children will suffer. It's the same thing. If you don't make time for Scentsy, your business will suffer. We like to say that in direct sales, there's a 90-day cycle. What you're doing today, whether positive or negative, you're going to feel those effects in 90 days. Unfortunately, for a lot of people who are not patient, like we talked about earlier, that's a very difficult thing to swallow. And for me, it was for a long time too. But this business has helped me to become more patient. And remember, patience is a virtue. That's what they always say, right? So prioritize. It's important that you've got your priorities straight in your life. You know, where does your family fall? Where does your marriage fall? Where does your relationship with the Lord fall? Where does your business fall? It's important that you prioritize and delegate your time appropriately. It's a business basic as well is that you're always planting seeds everywhere you go. That's why I talk about this business, being successful in this business is just a part of it being your lifestyle. Because you should just live a lifestyle of Scentsy. Like anyone who knows me knows that she's a Scentsy girl. She sells Scentsy. She loves it. Anybody who knows me, I mean, they can know me for 5 minutes and know that I sell Scentsy. I've talked to team members before who have told me, I've said, does everybody on your list of 100 know you sell Scentsy? You've been selling Scentsy for a year, 6 months. Does everybody on that list know that you sell Scentsy? If the answer is no, that is not a good thing. You've got to make sure that you're always planting seeds, that you are overflowing with Scentsy spirit, that everyone knows you're the Scentsy girl. You are the one. Because if people who know you know that you're the Scentsy girl, you're the best, you're the professional, that's where they're going to want to send people. Nobody wants to give referrals to someone who's like, yeah, she's like 10% the Scentsy girl. She's got like 10% Scentsy spirit. No one wants to refer people to that. So be 100%. Be Scentsy spirit. Be generous, be loving, be kind, be passionate about what you're sharing. Practice consistently having your 500 PRV monthly. That's what you need to ensure that you're going to be paid on your downline. So as a leader, you need to focus on getting your 500 in PRV every single month. That means 1 home party or maybe 2 basket parties every single month. Have a planner. Be prepared and know exactly what dates you're open to do parties and have that planner ready to go. Now let's talk about actually promoting to director. So to promote to director, these are the numbers that you are required to have. And all three of these things must occur in 1 month. All of our ranks on the commission plan, each of those are a monthly requirement. So you could potentially hit director in a high volume month like October, November, or December, and then have a harder time maintaining that in January or February, the slower months. So again, these are monthly requirements. So the first requirement is 500 in PRV. It doesn't matter if it's a lead consultant, superstar, or director. You're required to do 500 in PRV to be paid on your team. You also are required to promote to director to have 3 active frontline consultants. Now, active means 150 in PRV, and frontline means when you run a performance tab report that they are a 0.1 in your downline. That means that you have personally sponsored them or their sponsor has canceled and they have since rolled up to you. So frontline is anybody in your team who is a 0.1 on your performance report. So 3 people in your frontline who have 150 in PRV. You're also required to have 10,000 in group wholesale volume. Now, wholesale volume is different than retail volume. Retail volume is $30 warmer is 30 in PRV. Or 30 PRV warmer is 30 PRV. Group wholesale volume, anytime you see wholesale volume, it has deducted our 25% commission. So it's actually 75% of the retail volume. So 10,000 in group wholesale volume is actually 13,334 in retail sales. So 10,000 group wholesale volume. But the nice thing is the workstation calculates all this for you. So you don't have to do that. On the performance tab of your workstation, it automatically shows you your group wholesale volume. So you don't have to calculate that. The only time you're going to get in a situation where you need to calculate is if you know, oh man, we're at 8,200 in group wholesale volume. We're not that far from director numbers. Oh my gosh, what do we need in PRV? Maybe you got 2 weeks left and you're at 8,200 in group wholesale. So let's do the math. So if you need 10,000 in group wholesale, you're at 8,200, you're 1,800 in group wholesale volume away. So you take the 1,800, you divide that by 0.75, and that'll tell you 2,400 in retail sales is what you would need, what the remainder is for you to promote to director. So that's how you do that math. You just, if you're at say 8,200 or 8,300, or maybe you're at 9,500 group wholesale, whatever you're at in group wholesale, you would need to subtract that from the 10,000 group wholesale required. And then you would just take that number and divide it by 0.75. And that's how you're going to figure out what is still required in PRV for your next promotion. So we're at that 2,400 number needed in retail sales. And say you have a team of 18. So you could divide that by 18 and see, each of my 18 team members only needs $133 more in PRV or retail sales, and I'll promote to director. So that's kind of how you can do that math. And then you can always incent your team members. Hey, if you get 150 more in PRV before the end of the month, I'm going to enter you into a drawing for this. And then everybody who gets the 150 more additional in from that date until the end of the month gets entered into a basket for a drawing. So let's talk more specific. The numbers for director. There's so many different ways that you can break the numbers down. It's going to depend on your team size. Obviously, the more team members you have, the easier it's going to be to achieve. And obviously, the more you're personally selling, the less your team is going to have to do. That's how I promoted to director with a team of 18. I was personally selling about 5,000 or 6,000 each month in the fall. So that really helped a lot. The magic number is somewhere around 25 to 30 team members on average that's needed to hit director numbers. And of course, it's going to vary depending on what you're doing, what they're doing, how strong your team sales are. Like I said, I hit director with 18. One of our team members, Nadia, hit director with, I believe, 19 or 20. So it all just depends on the numbers. But here's a couple examples. So say you have a team of 20. Each of the 20 team members would only need to sell 650 in PRV, and you would need your 500. And bam, you've got enough for director. You have a team of 15. Each of those 15 team members would need to do 750 in PRV, and you would need to do 2,500. And bam, that's enough for you to hit director. So now let's talk about basic leadership qualities. Sorry. Okay, so now let's talk about basic leadership qualities. So being a leader is a responsibility. It's a very important responsibility. It's not something that we should take lightly. Let's talk about, these next couple slides are going to be all on basic leadership qualities. So here's some things that you really need to think about and remember. You are in control of your attitude, not the situation, not a team member, not your customers, not your hosts. You're in control of your attitude. And your attitude is going to determine your altitude. I love that quote. Your attitude determines your altitude. We are in control of our achievements. There are so many achievements with Scentsy that we can 100% control. You are in control of your earnings. You are in control of your business, and you are in control of your success. No one else is going to determine whether or not you are going to be successful in this business than you. Not your customers, not your network, not your town. No one but you. I hear so often, oh, they don't want to do this in my town. They don't want to do that in my town. Oh, they don't want to do this in my town. Oh, I think I just live in a bad area. No. You are in control. Keep the control. You have it. Don't give it away. You have it. Remember that. Now let's talk about training. These are some important things that you and your team members need to be doing. Participate in team meetings. I do them once a month. Sometimes I'll do an extra, but it's only once a month, and it's usually late in the evening so people can participate after work. I try to think about all of our time zones, and it's always live on the YouTube channel, so it's super easy to participate in. They don't need to make a long distance call or anything like that. It's easy, and I give the dates out way in advance. Make sure that your team knows about these meetings. The workstation, every single Monday. I'm sorry, that's the director calls, which you'll need to know about soon anyway, right? But every single Tuesday, the home office does a training call at noon Mountain Standard Time. That's 10 a.m. or I'm sorry, oh my gosh, at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's noon my time. So 10 a.m. Mountain Time every Tuesday. You and your team members can participate in a training call, and it's always done by a director or above. It's amazing information, and every week it's a different topic. You and your team members need to be listening to these, whether it's live or after the fact, because if you want to be a director, you have got to be a sponge and keep educating yourself. We can never think we know enough, ever. Live trainings. Any live trainings that I do, bonus trainings, participate in those. Conference calls. Do conference calls with your team members. It's so easy. Just do 1-800 free conference call, or go to freeconferencecall.com to get it all set up. It's so easy. You just set it up, and then you all call into this number, and 3 or 4 of you can get on there and do powwows at the beginning of or the end of a month. Successful. Have little mini get-togethers or one-on-ones with your team members. Encourage your team members to go to reunion. If they can't afford it, they can earn it. There is no excuse. If you can't afford to go to reunion, guess what? You can earn it, all expenses paid. Every dollar paid for. There's no reason that they can't make that happen. Encourage them to check out motivational conferences like this weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend. I'm going to Mastermind, which is a multi-level marketing conference here in Orlando. I'm really excited about it. There's conferences like that all the time that people can attend. We've got to make sure that us And some people who, yes, they do not have a desire to grow a business and they are not focused on learning. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't continue to put it out there. Maybe your team is not interested in training. Oh well, you'll find more that will if you keep recruiting, but that doesn't mean you should stop encouraging them to participate. You need to keep that up no matter what response you're getting. Encourage your team members and yourself. You need to develop training systems. When you sponsor a new team member, what does that look like? What does that mean? What are they going to experience? What's that step by step? It should be systematic. All the training of your team members needs to just be systematic. This is what we do here. This is what we do here. This is what we do here. Okay, now it's time for this call. That's how it should be. This business is not just fly by the seat of your pants. It's systematic. It's planning. It's strategy. Remember that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. We are not 2004 consultants. We're 2014 consultants, meaning that it's been done. We have lots of superstar directors who are making huge six-figure incomes. They've done it. They've established it, and they're teaching all of us, and it's all trickling down. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Use the tools that you are given. Learn from those Scentsy experts who have been there and done that. Get yourself a mentor. And I'm not saying it has to be me. Maybe you don't really connect with me. That's okay. Find someone who inspires you and motivates you, and someone who you can see as your mentor, and you can follow along in their footsteps. Use our YouTube channel as a huge resource, not only for yourself, educating yourself, but training your team members. Make it part of the training process. Okay, watch this video, and now we're going to discuss it. Next time we talk, we're going to discuss that video a little more specifically. It's so easy. It makes it so simple. Instead of having to coach them step by step, this is how you're going to do your presentation, have them watch my home party presentation and then just discuss it. That'll take a 1-hour conversation into a 20-minute conversation. If you don't have a Facebook team page, that's okay. Encourage them to participate in ours. I don't want anyone to feel pressured to have a team page before they feel ready, because you don't want a team page that is just emptiness. Teach by example. Lead by example. If you are not doing it, how can you tell them to do it? If you are not earning an incentive trip, how can you tell them to do it? If you're not doing home parties, how can you tell them to do home parties? You've got to be leading by example if you want to be a leader. And start to develop a this is what we do mentality. This is our team culture, and this is just what we do. We earn Shooting Star. We earn Annual Mentor. We earn annual sales. This is what we do. Now let's talk about parties. Parties are, obviously, I have very strong feelings about parties. I talk about them all the time. Parties are a very important part of your business. After all, it is called a party plan business. I have a video on the team Facebook or on the team YouTube, Successful Home Parties Part 1 and Successful Home Parties Part 2. And each of those videos are going to give you lots of education on how to set up your home parties, why you want to do home parties, how you want to do them. And then the second part is a live presentation that you can watch. I would definitely watch those and use those as part of your training for your new team members. So the first part of any home party is coach your hostess. I have an awesome video on do's and don'ts of hostess coaching that you and your team members should definitely watch. It's going to go in way more detail on hostess coaching. But hostess coaching is important. I can't stand when I hear people say, I don't coach my hostesses. I don't have time for that. Okay, then I guess you don't have time for $500, $800, and $1,000 parties then either, because coaching your hostess is going to make the difference of 2 guests showing up or 8. Because if you talk to your hostess a week before her party and she tells you, oh, I only have 3 people coming, effectively coaching her can turn those 3 people into 6. So with your coaching, you want to make sure that you cover some of these areas, like the food. This is something that a lot of people forget. You don't want people cooking meatballs in the crock pot and brownies in the oven. Just a little something sweet and a little something salty, nothing that's going to throw off any fragrance, because you don't want Scentsy competing for the scent. No one's going to walk in and be like, oh, wow, this is better than my Yankee candles. I need this stuff. If they can't even smell it and all they smell is pumpkin bread. So make sure that Scentsy is the focus. Make sure that it's very clear by your actions how easy this is and how fun it is to sell Scentsy. If you come in there 10 minutes before the party starts, looking all flustered, looking all frustrated, and you are a hot mess and nothing is organized and you look stressed out, who's going to want to sign up to do that? People's lives are stressed enough. They don't need more stress. Show how easy and how fun Scentsy can be. And that's going to be made completely different by how simple you're keeping things. Keep your display simple. Don't bring inventory. Just bring one warmer of each size for display. Put some wax in them so it smells great in there, and use their table if possible. Arrive early. Give yourself about 45 minutes to set up so you have plenty of time. My setup really takes about 30 minutes, but I give myself about 45 at the party because I like to be available to offer myself to my hostess and say, can I help you with anything? It's one way to make her job easy and make her want to host again with you. So give your hostess a basket party the week after the party, if possible, to help build sales. Now, obviously, if your party's on the 27th and there's only 30 days in the month, you want her to have the basket the week prior to the party. So you can close it. Have the time to have her take the basket the week after, do that, because you don't want people to have an excuse not to show up because of the fact that they got to just order from the basket tester set, because you want the chance to turn those people into parties. So you got to have butts in seats to make that happen. Give a small gift to people who bring a guest, and make sure you tell your host that you're going to do that, because you want more people there. If she's got 3 people RSVPing, you can turn 3 into 6 by saying, bring a guest and get a gift. And you can coach your host effectively because she knows those people. If you coach her effectively and tell her, hey, make suggestions when you talk about bringing someone. If you know your friend Bethany is really close with her mom, Lisa, say, hey, Bethany, why don't you bring your mom, Lisa? I'd love to see Lisa. If they're specific, it's going to make a huge difference on whether or not that person ends up bringing a guest. Because if you say, oh, just bring a guest, it's so vague. You got to be specific. So keep your presentation focused on what your goals are. You don't want a presentation that's just a catalog walkthrough and you talk about every product we have. We have a lot of products, a lot of great products, yes, but this is the focused attention of a presentation. You don't want to focus that on boring product knowledge. Highlight your favorites and use the rest of the time to focus on what your goals are, which, if you want to promote to directors, should be booking parties and recruiting, sharing the business opportunity. A great way to share the business opportunity is by sharing your story. So when you first start your presentation, it's so simple to just say, hey, I'm Katie Farner, and I've been selling Scentsy for 4 years, and I absolutely love what I do. I would do it even if I didn't get paid. That's how much I love it. I am so passionate about our product, blah, 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 blah. Just say a little bit about why you're doing what you're doing and why you love it. Do a door prize slip to get your contact information from these people because of the fact that some of them might not order. So you want to make sure you get all their contact information. One thing I forgot to put on here is check out my video about keep your name on file game, because it's a fun way to get your contact information entered into their phones and make a fun little game out of it. So it's called Keep My Name on File game for parties. And remember that your hostesses are your best recruits. So you've got to make this an awesome experience for her. If she's hosting a party, it's a guarantee that she has thought about signing up. It has crossed her mind. So make it a wonderful experience for her. Offer up the flip or the gift. Make sure she knows, hey, if you do decide that you want to sell Scentsy, like a lot of my hosts end up doing, I'll gift you this party and all the sales, everything will be yours. This would be your launch party, if you will. And listen to the guests. Every guest there is a potential recruit and a potential host. So for me, anybody that I see that has the slightest interest in the business or hosting, my first step is turn them to a hostess and then flip them. To me, that's the easiest way to do it. Now, other people go right for the join, but for me, I go from host then to flip. That's the way I like to do it. But listen for cues on how Scentsy can benefit them. Use purposeful games. I do the dice game that I have shared on the YouTube channel as well, to book parties, which works very, very, very well. And then my current recruiting game that I'm using, because this changes seasonally. During the incentive trip qualification time period, I use the Tropical Island game because that's a good business opportunity plug and it's a fun game. So my recruiting game changes kind of seasonally. But offer up your home party if a party location is a problem. You can also talk about different local places, coffee shops, pizza places, for people to hang out and have a little mini party. And hey, it's free advertisement while you're there anyway. And don't forget about the basket party. It's your little $25 employee. So there are people who just don't want to do home parties. Well, I shouldn't say people. I don't mean consultants, because consultants need to do home parties. But there are people who out there, hostesses, who just don't want to do a home party. And so the basket party is a great solution for them. Do most likely to succeed award at every home party for a potential recruit lead. If you haven't heard me talk about most likely to succeed award, go to my YouTube channel and check out the video called Most Likely to Succeed Award, and you can see exactly how you can use that. Make sure that you come to your party prepared with your calendar highlighted with all of your open dates that you're available to do parties, and make sure that you're prepared with all of your hostess packets. And hostess packets can just be so simple, you guys. It doesn't need to be this big deal. In a hostess packet, I put a showcase brochure, some invitations, a 40 guests in 4 minutes flyer, and a thank you note. And that's really all I include in there. Oh, and a join and a host brochure. So now let's talk about events and bazaars. So I'm just going to do a few more slides on this part 1 video, and then you'll have part 2 and part 3 that you can watch. So now we're going to talk about events and bazaars. And this is another aspect of your business that you absolutely need to be working if you are wanting to promote to director, because events are amazing places to meet new leads. And that's what we always want to be doing every month, consistently building new contacts. So the best way is finding inexpensive events. I'm not a big fan of the home and garden shows and the county and state fairs and these expensive things. You can find recruits at inexpensive events. So that's what I'm always looking for. Things that cost maybe $25 or $100 to participate, and you get a little booth and sometimes just a table, but sometimes even a whole booth. So here's some ways that you can search to find the bazaars. You can just Google events. Go to city and county websites, get the numbers and call. A phone call always works better than an actual website, because I've really come to find that those live websites just don't tend to be very good. The county and city websites, they just tend to be poorly done, and it's hard to navigate. So I always just call, hey, do you have any upcoming vendor events that I can participate in? Simple. You can go to Craigslist.org for local events, but be careful with Craigslist. Craigslist can be known for scams, so be very careful with Craigslist. Be very careful with any events. You want to make sure that you ask questions and it is a legitimate event. So you can also contact local schools or churches in your community. You can go to radio station websites. That's always a great place. You can ask for referrals. That's where you're going to get a lot of events. You want to make sure that everybody in your network knows that you're always looking for referrals. Talk about it at your home parties. You're always looking for events. Make sure everybody knows. And even if you contact an event and they already have a Scentsy consultant, make sure that you ask to be put on a backup list, because you never know what may happen with that consultant who's already working it. So let's talk about recruiting. Oh wait, one thing I want to add, talking about events. The purpose of events is not to sell product. I want to make this clear. The purpose of events is not to just be there and be a sales machine and sell, sell, sell. The purpose of an event is to find your next hostess who can become your next team member. So the purpose of every event is networking, gaining new contacts. That's what you're doing events for. because that is what's going to move your business forward. I have seen plenty of consultants who do events and they don't ever get parties booked from these events. They don't ever do anything that moves their business forward. All they do is sell cash and carry stuff right then and there, and that's that. They don't even care about getting contact information. How is that going to help you move your business forward? It's not. So make sure that you're utilizing events effectively. Now let's talk about recruiting, which clearly is very important on your journey to director. We talk about how you need to recruit the many to find the few. There are very few people who will work this business, as a career. Most people are going to join Scentsy, work it as a hobby, and maybe stick around for a little while. That's the majority. So we recruit the many to find the few. So you need to have that mentality with recruiting. If you have a team of 7, 8, maybe 14 right now, and you look at your team and you think, no one in my team is motivated. No one in my team wants to grow a business. It's okay. It's normal. I wouldn't say that I had people who wanted to grow a business and work a business until I had a team of about 40. But it's always different for everybody because we have someone in our team who her very first recruit, bam, was a go-getter, wanted to grow a business. So it's just kind of the luck of the draw, if you will, and the timing of that person's life. So with the mentality of recruiting, you just need to be focused on the more you can recruit, the better. What my goal is a consistent, steady frontline of at least 100 people. I want 100 people in my level ones, 100 people in my point ones that I personally sponsored or that have rolled up to me. That's my goal. That to me is where you can have a really healthy team because you want to grow wide and deep, not just one or the other. You want to do both. Your width is going to refer to how many people you've personally sponsored, and your depth is going to refer to how many people your team members are sponsoring and how deep your legs are going. Because we have a very generous compensation plan and we get paid on 3 generations of directors. So if you have 20 people in your front line or 100 people in your front line, think about the difference of how many long legs of team members can you have if you have 20 people versus how many could you potentially have if you have 100 in your front line. So focus right now on recruiting, you and your team. This is how you're going to grow. Focus on recruiting. So you've got to remember that everybody is a prospect. You cannot assume that someone will not be interested in this business opportunity. If you assume, you are going to miss out on recruits and someone else is going to recruit them. And then when it happens, you're going to be like, dang it, I cannot believe she joined. Why didn't she ever talk to me about it? Because you didn't ask. You have to ask everyone. Do not assume someone will not be interested. If you have not seen my Lifestyle of Recruiting video that I have here on the YouTube channel, definitely check it out. It's called Lifestyle of Recruiting. I presented it at Reunion, and I break down how you can live the lifestyle of recruiting and how easy it is to live this lifestyle of recruiting. The downline multiplier effect, this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. You've got to remember that you're not recruiting on your own. So when you look at that number of, oh man, I need 25 or 30 people to make director. Oh my gosh, how am I going to do that? It's not all your responsibility. It's your team members as well. So get them focused, get them moving towards a goal, and get them recruiting for the fun of it. Get them recruiting for the business of it, whatever it needs to be for them, but get them recruiting. Because if you're recruiting one a month, and they're recruiting one a month, and they're recruiting one a month, your team is going to grow dramatically. So focus on encouraging your downline to recruit as you recruit. Always make sure that you're prepared, that you have recruiting information on hand. Whether if it's just a join brochure or a whole little packet that you have, always be ready to join information. Every time I go to a restaurant, I give my waitress join information and a sample and a product list. Because I'm sorry, but being a waitress, I've done it. It's a horrible job. It is so exhausting. Long days, a lot of times rude customers. It's a hard job. So anytime I see a waitress, especially one who's pregnant, oh, my heart just goes out to her. So I'm always trying to recruit my waitresses at every restaurant, always trying to recruit my cashiers. So always be prepared with information and give it out. Don't be so afraid. Nothing is going to happen. What's the worst that's going to happen? Nothing. Recruit your hosts. Make sure that you offer hostess gifting to every single host. I don't care if you think she's going to join or not. Just offer it. Every single person. Say, hey, thanks for hosting a basket party with me. Here's how the hostess rewards work. And hey, by the way, I also offer hostess gifting, which means da 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 da. And put a join brochure in every order, especially if you're trying to grow, you're trying to recruit, and mail out possibility packets or join packets every month. Send them out. I'm going to send a possibility packet to 5 random customers or 10 random customers every single month. Compliment your potential recruits, because we know in order for a recruit to join, they need to know, like, and trust you, or they at least need to like and trust you. They may not need to know you really well, but they definitely need to like and trust you. So how are you going to do that? Well, one of the fastest ways to get somebody to like you is to compliment them. So compliment your potential recruit. Tell them genuinely why they would be good at it. Tell them, show them. I think you'd be good at selling Scentsy because of X, Y, and Z. That's the fastest way to start that conversation. 90% of people actually sign up for direct sales because someone actually just asked them. You just have to ask. Set weekly no goals for yourself and for your team. It's very important. I do this every week. I tell myself every week I'm going to get 10 or 15 no's. Every single week, depending on what my week looks like. 10 or 15, that's what I go for. And it's no's for anything, whether it's joining, whether it's hosting, whether it's a fundraiser, event, whatever. I pursue 10 or 15 no's every single week, and you should too. And you should encourage your team members to set a realistic no goal. You can even offer a fun little incentive every now and again. Everybody who gets the 10 no's this week gets thrown into a drawing and one person wins. It can just be really simple. Doesn't need to be dramatic or overcomplicated. So don't make the no personal. We got to think about it like we're offering somebody a stick of gum. If we offer somebody a stick of gum, what happens? They say yes or no, and that's that. If they say no, okay, you put your gum away. If they say yes, you give them a piece. That's it. We're not connected to the outcome. We're not connected to the result of whether or not they take the gum, which is because we have no control over whether or not they take the gum, right? Same thing with our business opportunity. We have no control over whether or not they say yes. We can set ourselves up the best way possible, but they're ultimately going to decide whether they want to join or not. It's all about their timing. So we have to disconnect from the answer because the answer is not in our power. So every time you offer the business opportunity, think of it like a piece of gum. Don't go into a negative downward spiral and think, oh my gosh, it's me. Maybe if I was offering a different type of gum, they would have said yes. Maybe if I offered Orbit instead of Trident, they would have said yes to me. I need to go and get some of that Orbit. This Trident's not right for me. I need that Orbit over there. That's the magic answer. No, we don't do that. We don't think, oh man, I shouldn't be selling Scentsy. I should be selling that. If I was selling that, they would have said yes to joining. I don't think this Scentsy thing is for me. That's what we do. That's what we do. If people say no to us about joining, or we think, oh man, I'm just not good at this. I'm just not good at this. See, I knew I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have joined. Just not good at it. That's what we do. It's ridiculous. Them saying no is not about us. It's about them. So don't make the no so personal. Dust yourself off and move on. Because if you're not hearing no, your business is not growing. Period. Your business will not grow unless you hear no. You have to hear no's consistently. If you are hearing no's consistently, that means you're going to be hearing yeses consistently. When it comes to your recruit, like I said, you can set yourself up for your best chance. And there are lots of ways that you can do that, like you'll find in watching the Lifestyle of Recruiting video. And here's a little tip. You got to discover their gap. You got to find out what is the difference between the life they're living right now and the life they want to live. That is what we call their gap. So show them how Scentsy can fill that gap. Is it an emotional need, a financial need? Discover the gap and fix it. Fix it with Scentsy. Sponsoring is simple. Recruiting is simple. It's just finding people and discovering what they want. And if the timing is right, show them how Scentsy can help them attain that. It's as simple as that. And recruiting is the lifeblood of your business. If you are not recruiting, you will notice that your team will start to turn sluggish. I've been talking with one of our team members about this, how her team is kind of starting to slow down and they're not doing what they were doing last year. And it's because recruiting has not been happening. You need fresh team members consistently coming in and revitalizing the team. Orville told us once on a director call that the most strong teams are teams that consistently have 2-month-old consultants in them. Anytime you look at their numbers, this month you're looking at their numbers and bam, they got 2-month-old consultants. 6 months from now you're looking and they got 2-month-old consultants, because statistically a 2-month-old consultant is one of the most productive stages of the business. So focus on new blood. Recruiting is the lifeblood of your business. Keep recruiting and keep your team recruiting. Going international. Going international is huge, especially if you can get into Australia right now. Focus on international. Make sure that you talk about it at every single home party. You're not going to go to a party and someone's going to walk in and say, oh my gosh, I love this stuff. I have somebody who lives in Australia who I think would be great at this. Can she sign up? Do you sell it there? That ain't going to happen. If you think it is, you're living in la la land. It's not going to happen. So you have to ask, just like anything else in this business. If you don't bring up international recruiting, you won't do it. So pursue it. You can even buy a pin, like to wear on your blouse for a country that you want to try to recruit in. You've got to bring it up. Ask for referrals. Ask, hey, do you know anybody who lives in Australia? Bring it up. Do you know anybody who lives out of the country? Bring it up. Get join stickers. You can even go to a website called Booster, BOOSTER.com, and find inexpensive stickers for every aspect of the business, but especially recruiting. And the Scentsy Family Store sells join stickers too. Label everything with join stickers. You can even loan your potential recruit a basket tester set to help her have success, because the faster they have success, it's going to breed more success. Success breeds success. So if you're successful, they're going to be more successful. And if they're successful, they're going to continue to want to be successful. So set them up to earn Shooting Star Award. Help them earn Sensational Start. If they join with a strategic timeline, they will much more likely earn Shooting Star. So make sure that they don't just sign up at random. Have them sign up at a specific time and date based on their first 15 days to help them earn it. And remember, with recruiting, it's not about you, it's about them. So don't be afraid and think, oh, I haven't accomplished this or I haven't accomplished that. I can't recruit. Well, you anyway, it's about them. It doesn't matter if I personally have done this or that. It doesn't mean my team member will, or it doesn't mean I'm a better leader because of it. Or if I haven't accomplished this or that, it doesn't mean that my team member won't accomplish that. I didn't earn Shooting Star Award when I first joined. I earned Sensational Start level 1, but that doesn't mean that I can't recruit people who will earn Shooting Star. I do it all the time. Doesn't mean that I can't recruit people who will earn level 2 or level 3 because I didn't. No, I do it all the time, because it's not about us, it's about them. Keep the focus on them with recruiting. So let's talk about the perfect consultant. Who are you looking for? You want to make sure that you're really trying to target people for this blessing. Who is the perfect consultant? And this is going to be the last part that we're going to talk about on this part 1 of the 3 series. So who's the perfect consultant? You'll be surprised. There's quite a bit of people who are the perfect consultant. Someone who needs money. Hello, ding ding, of course. People who are bored. People who want to be happy. College students. Military spouses, big one. Military spouses, big one. Somebody who wants a new drug. Somebody who's looking for a new drug of choice. Scentsy is a mood enhancer. They're going to get so much joy from it with no side effects. And by the way, I don't mean literal drugs, but just a new obsession. Somebody who's always craving a new obsession. Somebody who's temporarily out of work, men and women alike. Party guests interested in the product. Part-time workers, people who are working part-time. Anyone who shows even the slightest bit of interest. Housewives, empty nesters, that's a big one. Someone who lost a loved one. Those that spread the Scentsy love. A customer who's already using it and sharing it and telling everybody about it. That's the perfect recruit. Someone who starts showing someone else how Scentsy works. Somebody at the party, oh my gosh, yeah, this stuff is awesome. Look, see, this is how it goes. Perfect recruit. Need a girls' night out and connect with others. 40-year-old, middle class, maybe bored. Somebody who needs to pay for their Scentsy habit. You never want to judge, because sometimes that person that you least expect to do well will turn out to be one of your best team members and the backbone of your team. Those looking for a way to gratify themselves. Maybe they want a vacation, they need adult time, they want recognition for hard work, they want to be their own boss, they want job satisfaction. And I love this one. Somebody who needs a promotion or wants to be in charge of their financial future, because guess what, guys? You and me, we're in charge of our financial future. We decide our pay. We decide when we get promotions. So those are my first 19 slides of how to become a director. And let's see, I'm gonna go back to my screen here. Okay, so those are my 19 slides on how to become a director. And this is part 1 of the 3-part series. So check out the next video, part 2, and see more of my advice on how you can promote to director. Thanks for watching.